Underdawgs Podcast. It's your host T. Lee and my co-host Jock Cowden. The most known unknown will realize.
Was pulling up, they acting like they couldn't see me. Now she wanna clean me up like a squeegee. I told her that's on me, baby, like yellow BZ. With the peanut butter tear like a Reese.
Everybody's plotting on their downfall and maybe not expecting them to win, but they come out on top anyway.
They don't forget the underdog when they see me. I hit them with the John Cena, they can't see me.
We're gonna work hard. We're gonna stay dedicated. We're gonna be motivated.
I don't know. Being an underdog is probably more of a compliment for me.
Out of sight, out of mind. All I'm saying, just be careful who you idolize. I'm kicking this scripture just before the fame. Ain't no cap in my words, I go against the grain.
If you move like keeping it peach and keeping it real, like that's an underdog.
Surpass those long expectations. You're able to keep going no matter what.
You want to keep setting an example for people to follow. So the underdog isn't the loser.
Underdog is really honing in on your talents, dog. Don't let the compliments get you high.
But as an underdog, all you got is you. That's when you at your peers. You have to go through that phase so that you can be prepared for what's coming your way.
Yo, what it do, good people? Welcome to the Underdawgs Podcast. We back again, another episode. Very special guest we have on today. 2 years ago, when we started this journey, we remember, having a conversation with our guest, and I feel like everything just aligned and came together how it should, So we definitely got to give him his flowers. This is season 6, episode 19, the Court Connoisseur. A lifelong love for the game, featuring Chicago's own Atlanta-based pro athlete, creator, and entrepreneur, CEO and founder of Life and Basketball brand. We have Dari Arrington, Arrington on here, man. But before we bring him in, we have to show you what's going on. We got to let you know about our guest.
What's up, growth community? It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'd like to welcome you guys to a brand new series where we'll be focusing on a subject near to the hearts of many unsung heroes within that never got to tell their story. What a time and what a platform. Stunted Growth is a movement, a reminder of what it takes. A well of gems. The ones who are high up are not the only ones allowed to replenish. My story is important too, and so is yours. A place we can all be heard and chance to connect another mind to the source he needs to pursue. I could say something corny like, the youth is all we got, but that wouldn't suffice, because there's an enormous amount of wise minds with a voice that love the game and can provide assistance to the aforementioned youth as well, who aren't being heard. Not any longer. Stunted Growth Unsung Series. It's your boy JC, StuntedGrowth3.com. Visit now for consulting and much more. Let's get it, man. The first voice I'd like to give the floor is a guy that fell in love with the game at an early age, and at 29 still holds the same passion for it, maybe even more. In his heart, the league missed out. Listen to his story. Maybe you will think so too. Today's feature, Dari Arrington, born October 29th, 1990.
Yo, with this plugin, you can make sounds that nobody else is making. I'm talking about Output Arcade, baby.
YouTube and the ass. Excuse me. I didn't see that coming.
Now, you may remember Dari from the ABC News feature, where he stood outside the Warriors practice facility with a sign that let the world know how serious about this he was.
How far would you go to pursue your dream?
Very far. One Warriors fan taking an unusual approach to realize his dream. He wants to play in the NBA. For the past 31 days, Dari Arrington has been doing this, and this, and this. Arrington has been standing outside the Warriors practice facility with a big dream to become a Warrior.
I think I have what it takes, but I wanted to lay it all on the line.
Laying it all on the line means Arrington quit his 2 jobs, left Chicago, and came to Oakland. He's been holding up this sign. It reads, "Not homeless, need no money, just a chance at my dream."
My goal was to be a warrior. I wanted to come up with a crazy, unorthodox approach to pursuing my dream.
Arrington was not a blue-chip college prospect. Now, he did play college ball at Elgin University. He tried out with 4 different NBA G League teams and played semi-pro ball in Australia. He almost gave up on his NBA dream. Then he remembered Joe Anderson. 3 years ago, Anderson stood outside the Houston Texans stadium with a sign saying, "Not homeless, but starving for success." Anderson was later signed to the New York Jets practice squad. Arrington's stunt has gotten the attention of some real warriors. Sean Livingston gave him 2 tickets to a game and offered some words of advice.
Continue to follow your dreams, but follow up with some action. And the action behind that was trying out for the G League.
Arrington hopes to get an invite to try out for the Santa Cruz Warriors in the G League. Making the jump to the NBA is not unheard of. Current Warrior Alfonso McKinney, he played in the G League last year. Whatever the result, Arrington hopes to inspire others. He posts inspirational messages on social media with a hashtag, #BeTheWhy.
Be the why means to me not being afraid to pursue the craziest dream and asking yourself, is that crazy enough?
Nah, facts. Hey, we gonna go ahead and bring him in, man. You know.
Yo.
What's going on, brother? Hey, that was the most impactful intro, bro, I can think of, man. It's just everything you stood on, man, says a lot.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. Long overdue. But I'm definitely happy to be here and chop it up and share some more about the story.
Yeah, I feel like we're more ready and well prepared now. It's long overdue, but I feel like it happened when it was supposed to, so we can roll the red carpet out for you the right way,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like I say, appreciate you taking time out your schedule to kick it with the Underdogs. This year, in general, it's been like transformative, in many ways. Like as you reflect on 2024, like what lessons have you learned that you are excited about to carry into 2025, both personally and professionally?
Yeah. Well, again, I want to say before I get into this, thank you for having me on. This is something that I really been wanting to do because of what y'all stand for. Giving that amplified voice to the underdogs, and that's a lot that speaks to me in so many different ways. So I want to say thank you again for that. In regards to some lessons from 2024, really, man, it's just to continue chasing whatever feels natural. So many different things happen as over the years that you go after and you see yourself either achieving it or they just kind of pivot. I don't like to say you stop. I like to say you pivot. But like, I think the one thing that stood out for me, for 2024 is that whatever I do and chasing whatever dream, I just need to be able to touch one person along the way. And that's one of the things that stood out for sure, amongst a lot of different things. I turned 34 this year, so I'm very happy that I was able to see 34, and so many other blessings and things. And I hate to be forgetting them, but I think that one thing for sure stands out to me. And also, I've gotten closer with my faith. So those things for sure stood out, and they'll kind of lead me into 2025.
Nah, facts, man. Sound like you just staying well grounded. And it's crazy. I seen a post, man. It's kind of like it's not off topic, kind of correlate with what you're saying. I think when Kanye West, when he first did the College Dropout album, they were showing a clip. I was like, for some reason, the algorithm just pushes this because it just knows what we be on and stuff. Yeah. So it was like the label wasn't feeling it, and it's more like, I look at life like, it's okay to accept opinions and stuff, but don't let them opinions detour you from where you want to be and where you see a vision at, Either you might just have to work a little harder or whatever and stuff, but don't just be like, because somebody don't see it, you just got to give up on it. Because like an example like that College Dropout album is a classic, but it's you can see people's face looking so still when they're hearing it, like, especially if it's something new. You're giving something, you're presenting something that they're not used to hearing. So it's like it's gonna be the uncertainty of it, but I just be looking at it like I just tell people like understand, just stick to your craft and understand how hard you're working and what you're developing. The pins is fine. I don't say just, to the pins, but that's not going to be the ultimate where you're headed towards it, because everybody has a thought and feelings to something, but nobody can necessarily say, hey, this is where it's going to go. Unless you say, hey, it's going to go that way, then, I mean, you just basically cut it off from there,
Man, you said it right on the money, man. Absolutely. Speaking the same language there.
Nah, definitely. So, man, even outside the basketball, the entrepreneurship and the coaching, like, how would you define yourself, like, as we push the importance of people knowing themselves and who they are? Like, what are the key attributes or values that shape you, as a person?
I think, man, just being true to myself, in any season, being true to who I am, being true to whatever goals I set out, and actually walking that walk, man. A lot of people will say a lot of different things, and some people will even show you that they're willing to walk the walk. But for me, willing, it's just not in me. It's beyond willing. It is actually doing the walk. And so, however that end result is, I'm not, I'm somebody that doesn't really care about what the end result is, because I got to put the stuff out there. I got to put me out there forefront. I need to be front and center. And so for me, it's just, every day remaining true to who I am, true to my values, my morals, respecting my boundaries, and not jeopardizing anything, whatever that is at that season, that's something that I like to, stay true to.
Nah, facts, man. And I feel like we living in a time now where, like, the internet is showing, like, people that I really wouldn't even be looking for, to be honest. Like, especially with what happened with the election and stuff. I don't want to dig too deep into politics, but I've sat back and observed people actions and, like, what was going on. So I'm like, literally, just like religion, colorism, classism, politics divide people. I seen so much how people are divided, not really just respecting one another's whatever works for them, like whatever they decide to go with. People are literally cutting ties with people, and I'm like, if we would have all just come together as one, just forget beliefs and everything, just understand we all got the same problem, I think that would be way more impactful than just going against one another because off of this party and that party, and that's the setup. I feel like, because it's not set up for us to all either think for ourselves or come together as one. And I'm like, man, if people just understand the power in that, because I was just like, it's a crazy world, man. Because I'm like, social media is showing that, like, the people out there that you wouldn't think is it, but it's always like they always say, hey, it's somebody out there that's, and I believe that just seeing all these different, feelings and emotions go out, man, it's crazy.
Nah, so it's funny, it's not funny, but it's real that you say that, because same way, man. Look, so I always think that people, I always say it the same way. If we could just come together, things would be a lot better. It's easier said than done. But here's the thing, I look at, there's three major things that we all are looking for in life. And that's peace, there's love, and that's happiness. There's not one human being on this planet that is not looking for those three things. And so we divide ourselves because we don't want to accept one another for who we are, what we believe in, our values, and this and that. We wouldn't be able to grow if everybody agreed. We wouldn't be able to do anything if everybody agreed. It would just be completely numb. We have to have some challenges. We have to have some disagreements. Where the problem lies is the disagreements become, well, if this is what you're standing on, I absolutely want nothing to do with you.
Right. How can we grow?
You see what I'm saying? And so when that type of energy is into play, then we're not doing any kind of forward movement. I would never want to be in a friend group where I'm the smartest person in my friend group. So I want to be around people that also challenge me to think outside of the realm of what I think. Now, I don't have to agree with every single thing, but we definitely want to have some challenges to open up our mind so that we can to get to ourselves and be like, hey, how well does this sit with me? Did what this person said, how does this impact me in a way where maybe I want to kind of shift some things up? Let me try some things, because this will help grow, or it might impact somebody else. So I think that peace, love, and happiness is what we're all looking for. And I think if we really can focus on those things, we could really have some significant change with the politics and things of the nature. But, it's evil, good, all kinds of things that are existing that just won't ever, not exist. And I don't look at it for it not to exist, because we need both sides. If we don't know any, if we just all know bad, then bad becomes good. If that's all we know. If we only know good, good becomes just, I guess, good. But we want things to conflict a little bit for good, for some positive growth, because we can't just all be on the same accord. We just got to know how to communicate. We got to be willing to listen, step out of our own way, not be so prideful. So it's too much pride, way too much pride. Pride is at an extreme level right now. We could blame social media on a lot of aspects. But I would say, like, for myself, I use it. I don't even hang out on Instagram. I use it strictly for business and motivating purposes. But there's people that really struggle with it too, man. So, we gotta capitalize and focus on mental health. And people struggle with it at different levels, right? And there's some people that aren't struggling with it, but they still need to have a sound bite. They still need to be having a platform to talk about the strengths in that. So I think, when we dealing with the, politics of things, it's more of a way to just continue to divide our country more so than truly bringing together. People can have all these policies, Camilla, Trump, all these different policies here and that. But the thing is, we're dividing. And that's the main thing, right? And so we carry that just, us, like regular every day. If we just get rid of politics, it's still like a lot of division going on.
Yeah, and other than that, like I say, and even religion is the fastest thing somebody will cut you out for just because of your beliefs. And but at the end of the day, it's like y'all are all serving the same purpose at the end result.
Yeah, and and it's so much deep, man. I know, I could go on and on about that. Like I said, my faith is something really big. I'm a Christian, but I operate in a whole different way, man. And I grew up with a different type of Christian belief, and it was always just Xing people out if they didn't do this, or condemning people. Like, who are you to condemn somebody? Who are you to judge somebody? Man, it's supposed to be all about love, man. All about love. That's all I'm about. All about love and respecting human beings, man. People are gonna make their own decisions, and that's for them to deal with. But you got to keep spreading that love, right? And so it goes down to that type of mindset. But I feel like if we could just get enough people together to get on that accord, then we'll be able to make some better progress in our world.
Yeah, I feel like it'll start a trend somewhat, as most other things trend. So let's go to the foundational, man. You spent part of your childhood in Atlanta before returning to Chicago. Like, how did that transition shape, your passion for basketball, and like, what was it like to move, from one basketball culture to another? Because I mean, it started in Atlanta, then it went back to, you grew the passion in Chicago, which that's the Windy City. We already know Chicago is the infamous, stomping ground for Jordan. So
yeah, absolutely. So yes, Atlanta was just like the birthplace for my love for the game. And growing up in Chicago, my grandmother was a huge Chicago Bulls fan, huge Michael Jordan super fan. And I grew up watching these games, but I didn't really know what was going on. And so fast forward a few years, my mom moves us to Atlanta. And so I I was playing football and following what everybody else was doing, and Atlanta, the South period, is just known for football. And so I knew at the time that I thought at the time I really wanted to be in the NFL. And so I really had no really love for basketball at all. And so I got on that football field. I was living in Edgewood, and at the time it was a community called Grady Homes. And so I lived there, and I joined the Butler Parks like youth league. And so I played football in Atlanta from I was like in 3rd grade all the way up to like the time we were leaving. So I left Atlanta at 13. So from 3rd grade to 13, so that time frame. And I was just playing football, and I got injured. And my mom, she just wasn't happy about how that went. I also wasn't happy because I could run, I could throw, I could jump, I had great agility. I was an all-around athlete. What I didn't like is I didn't like getting hit. So when that happened, it was over for me. I was like, yeah, I don't want to feel this type of pain. And so it was one of my buddies I was going to school with that introduced me to playing basketball. Like I said, I was watching it, but I never really played it. But when I first touched the ball, and it was like a unbelievable feeling. I just couldn't stop, man. It was like this was literally it. This was meant to be. And so it happened for me in Atlanta. And so I had this love for the game where I would just play and play and play. So probably around I left at 13. When I was around 10, so from 10 to 13 is where this love really started to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just was like, all right, I want to go to the NBA. I was like, that's where I want to go. And so then early on, I'm like searching for so much stuff at the time, and I'm watching tapes at the time. We didn't have YouTube.
Yeah,
Like,
look, I was like, bro, I was gonna say we were around the same age bracket, bro, but like, watching highlights and then going outside to try the moves and one tapes.
Absolutely. I was watching and one, and I was recording on a VCR, Kobe. And so I had fell in love with Kobe, and Kobe became my muse. He became my absolute direction on professionalism, how to really pursue and go after what you want on the court. And so that became my target. I wanted to be 6'6". I wanted to be a Laker. I wanted to do every single thing. The only thing that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to wear his jersey number because I wanted to have my own identity, but I wanted to embody what he embodied on the court. And so once we moved back, when we left Atlanta, we moved back to Chicago, things shifted for me. And the Windy City, as you know, Chicago is a basketball powerhouse. And so I was unfamiliar with how everything worked. I didn't really know about AAU. I didn't know that, coaches had been looking at players in 5th grade and all of these things. So right as I'm coming back to Chicago, I'm getting ready for high school. So I couldn't do any of those things really. You can because there's AAU in high school, but I wasn't thinking like that. And my family, my mom wasn't aware of these things. It just wasn't something that people in my family, at least, was taking serious because we had no other athletes that was trying to pursue it in the way that I was expressing.
Yeah.
And so, it was just all about tryouts for me. So, we had like the rec center and things of that nature, and I would play there, play at the park. But it was just like you do that, work out as much as you can, and I have my own way of doing it, and you get ready for tryouts. And so that's where it goes from there, man. I tried out, and I didn't make the team. I didn't make the team. And then I tried out for 4 years, and I didn't make it. So Chicago was a trip to me, man. In a sense of like really awakening another level of this underdog mentality.
Nah, facts, man. And it's like when you describe like the feeling of when you first touched that basketball, man. Like that feeling as a kid, it feel like, you know, when Space Jam, when the Monstars get the
Yep.
powers and they grab the ball, like
Absolutely, man.
it's man, like it was everything. Like I said, growing up is either that what we had in front of us. It was sports, like either
Yeah.
basketball, football. I mean,
Yep.
it was music for me, but that was the two things like we had that, like it's like you said, as our muse watching, you know. And it's like that type of basketball in the early. I'm gonna ask you about the game in the eras too, but like to see Vince Carter and Ben Wallace and Rasheed
Man.
Wallace, and that was just like, bro, the game was crazy. Like even the All-Star games, like it was entertaining. Like they were playing. Like it wasn't just like, all right, we just here. Like
It was so special, man. It was so special. I really am so happy that I experienced the way basketball and sports was during that era.
Yeah.
Like, coming up in my early teen years, for sure. It was really special, man. Like 2002, 2003 All-Star games they like untouchable. I don't think they'll ever be replicated. It was, you know, you got Iverson, Strawberry, Kobe, Tim Duncan. Like it was the list goes on, and you even had Michael in there. Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, with the we came back for that. Yeah,
So and then that took place in Atlanta. You know, so Atlanta for me, man, has always been a super special place. And I was really sad when I had to leave, you know, and ever since then I had always wanted to come back. And so, you know, I was able to do that, you know, years later.
Yeah. So like I'm gonna ask a question too, because I'm not too fond of like the Chicago, like when it comes to basketball, more so you hear a lot about New York.
Yeah.
So it's like with the Windy City, like, you know, they say the birth of hip hop and basketball, and like New York up top. But it's like, how do you distinguish that from what you see in Chicago? Like, because like you said, of course, the influence from the Bulls. So I just want to know, like, how is it like, you know, up top versus Midwest and down south, like the differences?
Well, it's funny because I'm currently in New York right now. So New York is, I mean, it's the epicenter, man. It really is what everybody you've ever heard talk about this place. Especially when it comes to sport and basketball, it is definitely that. But the difference is the culture in which the game is narrated. And so with Chicago, it's like really grind, like, and when I say grind, I'm talking about like heavy hitter grind. It's like life or death.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not a city where you have so much opportunity for the game. It's very like, man, I can't even think of the words to really describe it. It's like you either in this community or you're not.
Tight stuff.
In New York, everybody can be a part of it. It's either you got game or you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's that different type of thing. So you still got to grind for sure here. It's just way more opportunity and for people to be discovered and things of that nature. Chicago isn't, you know, like there's some definitely top leagues and local tournaments that's happening all through the summer and stuff of that nature, but nothing compares to tournaments here in New York. And then you got LA that follows what New York is trying to do, you know, or what New York has been doing, excuse me. But for me, I will always love the grit, the grind of being a Chicago and being a Chicago basketball player. I grew up with Derrick Rose. So, being able to be around him and him teach me some things was really great. Now, I didn't look at him as like, oh, he's going to the NBA. I just thought he was just some dude that was just really dope on the court. And I really didn't even follow his high school career. Like, I didn't know he was really doing it like that, because I would only see him when we're on the court outside or something, right? And he'd be cooking. But I didn't really see what he had became and what he was going to do in the future. And it was just amazing. So Chicago just produces a different level of type of talent because of what you got to endure to actually, make it out of it.
Nah, facts. And I'm like, when D Rose was tough, bro, when he first like came in, but it's like once the injuries, but even after, it's like it was like his was like a up and down, but he still like displayed like underdog mentality because like
Yeah.
after the injuries, you'll hear him cooking up again a little bit, and then it'd be back to the injuries. But it's like, man, if he would have been healthy all the way, I think
Yep.
he would have been something too.
Yeah, man. I used to tell him too, like, yo, you gotta chill on this concrete, D. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta chill on this concrete because the way he was dunking in the league, he would dunk like that on the concrete. And
Yeah.
he never landed properly. He was always a poor lander. Once he dunked, he come down and he always fall. He never can land properly. And so I just think like with his development, he never really focused on securing his knees. It was just always superpower youth, like my youth is going to get me through until, we experienced 2012 and, it completely altered his career. But man, he was always a great dude, man. Always great. And I'm going to go on the record. Yes, I beat him one-on-one too. So if by any reason that he hears this or see this, he going to know it's not no cap. So I beat him one-on-one. But I like to say that. But Derek is like, he's my favorite point guard that of this current generation. He's always been like, he was somebody that taught me one of my moves that I still do to this day. Because I had a hard time penetrating to the basket without losing the ball. And so he showed me how to do that. And that helped really ascend my career.
Nah, that's dope, man. So like, cause most of us, I realized when I read up on your article and stuff, doing my research, man, like a lot of stuff was kind of self-taught in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when you said it, I'm like, I relate, man, because growing up, it was like, no men, we just outside just doing it. It just comes from just going outside playing. And then for me, like as a kid, I used to go in the, the neighborhood parks or whatever and stuff like that. And there'd be a lot of older, people out there, older guys playing. I just jump in. That was just go out there and, just get it in and stuff like that. I mean, they not, hey, you can take the shot. They like, you better come get it how you can get it. Like fouling and all type of stuff, and stuff like that. But it just like, I felt like that developed me as a player too, not to just to play harder. But
yep.
So like, what are some of the key lessons you learned though, like from with street ball or playing organized, like with older players? If you play with older players coming up, like how did that shape your game?
Man, I love this question. I've always been very humble and been coachable. I knew that because I lacked in a lot of areas. I'm not tall, man. I'm only 5'10". And playing basketball is a tall man's game. Despite of what people say, I don't suffer from little man syndrome. So I keep it a buck. It is a tall man's game, but we've definitely had some undersized heroes that have shown us that, it doesn't matter. Right. So I've always been a humble, coachable kid. And OGs, and I was just taking little bits and pieces because I grew up where my father wasn't active in my life like that. So wherever I can get the information, whether I would look at this person as a credible source, they were telling me something that I didn't know before. So I could go fact check it or I could not listen. And for me, I was always thirsty for knowledge. I just constantly seeking knowledge, whether it's coming from a credible source or not. I just was taking game in, man. Giving me tips here, giving me tips there. Whenever I run across somebody that would give me the same tip, then I'll just cancel it out. Right. And but yeah, I would do that and then apply it to my game and see if it made a difference or not, and if it did, I would go back to the OG and be like, yo, I appreciate that advice. Like it worked, this and that and the third. And then as far as just like developing what my game was out there is I was always just trying to bite off of the players that I looked up to.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to take every little thing that I could from everybody. Like I said, Kobe was my muse, but I looked at AI, I looked at T-Mac, I looked at Stephon Marbury. I was looking at everybody, Ray Allen, all kinds of stuff, so that I can apply to my game where I can be well rounded. And so that's how it was for me, man. Taking those bits and pieces from, you know, the older guys at the time, to you know, towards the end of my career.
So since you gave us a preview of some of the players you was looking at outside of the GOAT debate, because we're gonna jump into that too, but I want to see your response on that. But like, what qualities or they play styles, you know, stood out to you from some of the, you know, the other players that you were looking at? Like,
I think, man, the way guys approach the game, man, I've always been very steadfast, very focused on how a player comes into the game, which means like their routine, like, you know, how they warm up, how they prepare for, you know, shoot around. I was always seeking that stuff. So like whatever they were doing in that sense, I wanted to embed in my game, because I wanted to be where they were. So for an example, if I saw Kobe warming up a certain type of way where, you know, he's getting a full on sweat, he got a long sleeve on because he's got the breakaway stuff on, I will go be at the park, and in Atlanta it'd be crazy hot, and I'll be wearing a full jumpsuit, man. It'd be off on the side just dribbling, looking crazy, because the other be like, yo, what's wrong with this guy, man? Like, bro, it's mad hot out here. You in a full sweatsuit. But I wanted to replicate what I was seeing, because if they were doing that, then if I did it, then I saw myself being where they were. So free throw shooting, you know, how they stood, the foot placement, how the hand releases from the ball, how long they hold their shooting hand up, you know, what are they doing with their guy hand, how they, you know, I mean, like, very detailed, the way that they bite their lips, the way that they're breathing, the way that they're focused, you know. I was doing all those little things that I was seeing in those players. So whether it was you know, a celebration after a shot, or a stare down after a shot, or you getting smacked by 15, the piercing look in somebody's eye, I wanted to embed that in me.
Nah, fast. Sound like you was scoped in the mind like pottery, man. Like, literally. It's literally. So all right, so you kind of already answered the last one, so we're gonna jump to the GOAT debate, man. So
okay,
Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron, and who would you label as, you know, your greatest? And what about their style of play like stands out to you as being the most impactful?
Okay, so for all three of them,
yeah, all three, because, you know, everybody. It's like Jordan and Kobe, I want to say, played in the same era with each other versus with LeBron. Because Jordan was still going with LeBron. I mean, when Kobe came in the league.
Yeah. So I would say Kobe's definitely my number one. So I think everybody listening to this, they gonna know, like, oh, he's going with Kobe. Kobe's my GOAT, but believe it or not, I don't think he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
So I think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And because I say this, beyond just his playing style, I think the impact, and we're 30 years past him playing, that he's still considered the person that everybody gets compared to when it comes to greatness. Doesn't matter who you are. And I think, to me, that alone just kills GOAT conversation. Like, this has to be the GOAT. Like, we're not talking about Bill Russell. We're not talking about Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
It's only Michael Jordan that anybody and everybody and their mom is going to compare anything that's great of basketball to this person. They even compare Kareem and Wilt to Michael greatness.
Nah.
And this Michael is a player that's after them. So I'm going to go with Michael as the overall GOAT, and not just because of what he accomplished, how he played. It's just the lasting impact, man. And I don't think there will ever be anybody that would have that type of impact at all, ever. And then, but Kobe, I think he's my GOAT because he was my generation Michael Jordan. So he literally was a carbon copy of him, of Michael, in the best way he could be. And I was attracted to that. I was like, that's what I want. He also had that element of cool, where, you know, Michael was very professional. But Kobe, he had different phases we seen him in. He was real cool. He had the fro. He had rap videos. You know, he all of this type of stuff. He's in cameos. And then he had the next level where he's the Mamba.
Yeah, the Mamba.
You know, and it's a different type of Kobe. We're not seeing him in no commercials and
he locked in.
He's locked in. And
he legacy mode. Then he was
you know, and the shoe game started getting crazy. So that Kobe is my GOAT, and he's my go-to because I like the way he speaks. I like the way he articulates things. I like the way he thinks about the game. Very methodical, strategic, and he's got a little bit psychotic in him, man. So he's like a little bit of a psycho in the sense of his approach to things. So, but then LeBron comes in the picture where he's his own GOAT. LeBron is his own GOAT, and rightfully so. I mean, he's completely done something that nobody's going to be able to do, that I don't think anybody's going to be doing. He's playing with his son. Like, that alone is just, I don't even think you could redo this. I don't think you could redo it at all. Like, to be able to play with someone and last this long and still be in that dude.
Yeah.
What's
your opinion though? Like, because people being like hard on Bronny, because you know a lot of people gonna say, "Oh, that was LeBron move" and stuff like that. But I'm like, give the man like a year, because he's jumped in. He didn't go through he went straight in. So it's like,
you're right. I mean, he's now in the G League. So I think I don't really care about what these people have to say. I think, like, so what? Like, if LeBron was your father, you would be happy to do it too. Yeah. So what are we talking about here? You know, LeBron made a way for his son. That's what a father's supposed to do. I know I would do it. I would be like, oh yeah. Come on. I want my young boy to be on the same team as me, and I want him wherever we got to do to open up the doors. Why not? LeBron worked his tail off to be in this position to open these doors. Now, what Bronny chooses to do with the opportunity is totally up to him. Yeah. I personally think Bronny is a player that can play in this league. I think he has the athletic ability. He has the genes. He's just got to find himself. I don't think
give him a little time, man. Y'all too hard on them in the first few games, like.
Yeah,
like, come on.
And I think a lot of that just comes from, you know, just the overall hate that people just, you know, think that he had a handout and he didn't deserve this and that. But my thing goes to this, like, why didn't he? He didn't ask to be born in this family. He didn't ask to do those things. He just wanted to play ball, and he got an opportunity, you know, like, so what? Like, he can hoop. Like, we're not going to sit here and act like he can't hoop. He can hoop. He's just got to find his way. He's got to find himself. And, you know, yeah, he's very passive, but years people have always said LeBron is passive too. People always be like, LeBron, man, he'll never be one to take over. He always wait till the last minute. He always deferring the ball. He pass the ball. Just, you know, take over the game. You so big, this and that. And people forget that, right? So you got to give him time. He's got to grow. He's got to develop. He's got to find out who he is. You know, this is a whole different game. This ain't college. This ain't Sierra Canyon. This is the NBA, and you're playing with your father, who's also still that dude.
Yeah. You gotta realize you a target on the court too, because them other players, they want to prove a point. So
they want to prove a point.
I'm trying to remember, did they do stuff like that when he first came in the league before he ended up how he is now? I'm trying to remember.
No, they didn't do stuff. So, you know, Dale Curry, he was a great, phenomenal shooter, but he wasn't a superstar, you know. And then when he got older, he was just washed, right? So Steph comes in the league, straight underdog, my favorite player to this day. And he still, his first few years was terrible.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. I was like, because he popped out though. He was on the Warriors the whole time too.
His whole career.
The Warriors, man, they had a little drop for a long time. You ain't
Oh my gosh, man!
I
Yes,
know their tickets was cheap.
man. Listen, they was just getting everybody around the way. It was getting Jamal up the street. They was just like, "Yo, come run with us," you know. So
that sounds like the Magic a little bit. I don't want to throw that's my city, man. But I'm not liking with the organ. Like after Howard left and he did what he did, I was like, nah, T-Mac was my guy. Like,
yeah, oh man,
for T-Mac, man.
Man, that #1 jersey with the pinstripes, black and white one. Oh man, dog. That right there was something else. And then, you know, him being from there was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, I put LeBron in his own category, man. The GOAT debate is, for me, I love to get involved in it. But I personally think Michael Jordan is the GOAT because of the lasting impact. Because there's things LeBron can do on the court that Jordan can do, you know, and vice versa, right? So you can't really say because of the play style that's what makes somebody the GOAT. Mm-hmm. It's really the impact, right? And LeBron does have an impact, but I don't think his impact is going to touch Jordan. Like that's why he's able to do so many different things outside of the court, right? He's got all these different businesses so that his legacy continue on. But when we're talking about basketball, I mean, Jordan inspires so many people that didn't even think about playing basketball. Like, that's just crazy work. That's like a whole nother level. Like countries, you know, when that USA team, that dream team went, it was over. Like it was up. That like superseded everything. And so, and he still talked about to this day. Like you can't tell me somebody don't want to wear shoes.
I was just about to say, man, this man been selling the same shoes over and over again, over generationally. That's crazy.
Over and over. So that's how I would answer your question. I hope that makes sense. How I laid that out.
Nah, facts. Yeah, you broke them down individually and gave a good response on that. So I haven't watched the game evolve over the years. So we talking about from the early 2000s to now to, like I say, from Jordan era. Like, how do you think the game has changed? You know, from your early playing days as well to now, and like, where do you think the direction is headed in?
Repeat that the first part. I'm sorry. Repeat that first part for me.
Having watched the game evolve over the years, how do you think the game has changed from, you know, when you started playing your early days to now? And what do you think is like? What's the direction you think is headed next?
I think how it changed is definitely the competitiveness, for sure. I think that, to be honest, I think the game has definitely gotten softer in the sense, like, you know, you can't even touch the guy, man. You can't
put a fingernail on him. Just let him come through the hole.
Yeah, man. So it's so like it's hard to watch that because I like to see competitive edge, but I want to see a good competitive, right? I want to see. I like what Anthony Edwards brings to the game. I like to see how he's talking his trash, but he's not trying to overdo it where he's trying to prove that I'm stronger, I'm better than you. He's just like, I'm here too, right? And I think you have that sense of playing in the game, it makes it so much better to watch. And you know, that part is really hard to see that it's not happening because I remember Iverson, you got Stephon Marbury, you got Vince Carter, all of these guys, Mike Bibby, all of these eras where that's what was happening out there. You saw that. So how it's, you know, changes is definitely got more skillful. The skill is off the charts. It's like I think these players, man, they pulling off moves that it's just like, yo, I don't even know how you got your body to do that. Like,
man, you see Ja Morant? Now he's like, we know he's used to just going in and just slamming. Now this man is 360 layups. He did it like, I don't know, I've seen 5 or 6 highlights with him doing that same.
Man, this dude is incredible, man. His athletic ability is incredible. I remember I used to be thinking like Zach LaVine was like super athletic, crazy, and he is. But I mean, Ja is Derrick Rose, he's Iverson, he's Tracy McGrady. Like the dunk creativity and flairness in the air is crazy. So the skill for sure has changed. And then the way obviously people shoot the ball. You know, I think
I was gonna say that, man. Everybody, the big man shoots. Nobody's like everybody just shoots now.
Yeah, man. Everybody's a shooter. You know, people could blame Steph all they want, but I think Steph just inspired people.
Yeah,
you know? And he had to. Steph is small, you know, so small compared to those guys. So he's like, all right, I don't jump the highest. I'm not Kyrie. I'm not dribbling the ball like that, but I can shoot this thing. And so you add a little bit of dribble with a little bit of muscle mass, and you got that shot. Now you really unguardable. So, yeah, shooting, athletic ability, and I would guess it's hard to say, but I think like the more people are able to score more now, and that could be a result of just the lack of defense, not being able to play defense the same way. But yeah, those is what I see that have changed for sure. Obviously, the rules, you know, we got the play-in tournament and all kinds of different things like that nature, but just the game itself, just the skill set, and what players are able to do. And I forgot. I didn't even answer the last part. Is where do I think the game is going? Right?
Yeah. Where you think it's headed now? I mean, we got the shooters now. Like I say, the 6 foot, 7 foot. Like, yeah, man. It's like you even got like you did have Dirk shooting back then too now, but it wasn't like
he wasn't doing what we see Wemby.
Yeah.
We see Wemby shooting like he's 6'2" or something.
Yeah.
So where it's headed, I think it's to be determined, man. I think we're gonna be here for a little while. I think we're gonna see another wave of freaky tall players like Wemby coming in. You got the Chets, Wemby. You got Bol. Like these guys, there's more. You got Giannis. These guys are really gonna change the game. I just wish that we can get back to some stuff with like the traditional bigs, like real centers.
Yeah, you ain't coming in there without it.
Yeah.
Bro, the expressions Ben Wallace and them used to give when you come in there trying to just disrespect the paint. Like,
yeah,
bro,
it's like
they was hungry.
They definitely. So I missed that because it just was the era I grew up in. I can't say it was better. I just think
like you say, that challenge is everything.
Yeah, the challenge is everything. So I don't really know where it could be heading. A lot of people are saying there's going to be a 4-point line and 4-point. I think if we do all that, it's going to get a little silly. I don't think it'll be taken as serious. But I just think that more players will be able to be more efficient with the shots. And just we'll start to see more moves. We're going to see moves like, whoa, like you could do that. You could do this. And that's where I think it'll probably go, if anything. But we're going to probably be here for a while, though.
Nah, facts. So, man, let's dive in on the routine, though. When you was big, you was deep into your craft in the beginning. Like, what routine, look like to continue? What did your routine look like to continuously improve? And, like, did you follow a strict regimen, or was it, like, more about staying active and learning on the fly, like, as the game was changing?
You mean like the routine as me as a player, or just
as a player, like what did you build, because like it seemed like you had to be self-taught on a lot of things.
Yeah. My routine was like I said, I followed a lot what Kobe was doing. So I really embodied his entire schedule, like those 4 a.m.s and ending my day at 8. That's what I just followed. Like, he woke up at 4 and, he'd be working out. He have like 2-3 breaks in between, and he just be in that gym getting that work. And so that was my routine. And then I needed to develop like different eating habits. So whatever I saw him and Michael. Those really became my two focal points, Kobe and Michael. And I had the privilege to be able to talk to Tim Grover. So Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's, Kobe's, and D Wade's development coach, like the fitness side.
Yeah.
And so I had a privilege to be able to connect with him in my senior year of high school because he owned a gym in Chicago called Attack Athletics. And so some seniors from the school that had a certain level of grades were invited to watch, like they had a Converse event. And this is when D Wade was with Converse, and they had Kirk Heinrich and things of the nature. And so I had the privilege to be able to talk to him and talk about like what I should be eating. So I was just kind of really diving into, at the time there was a magazine called Stack, and I also had a feature article in there because I did this shooting contest that, like, I forget how much it was. Like, I think it was like 73 threes or something like that. And they featured me in there. And so, yeah, I stayed to a routine of what I saw the pros doing. So my favorite pros, who I aspired to be like, I stuck to that, and that is what I carried on through my professional playing career too.
Man, so would you say, like, you know, you having that mama mentality earlier on, like when you were told you weren't good enough, or what gave you the resilience to keep going and push through, you know, those rejections back then? Like, because, you know, the average person to be like, I'm not good enough, or I couldn't make it, and they just that'd be the roadblock right there, you know.
Yeah, man. So what really pushed me, man, is just my undying belief in what I could do on the court. I knew for a fact that I can be an asset. I knew I could be a value to a team that put me out there, and one for sure, like if I had the personnel to believe in me. But just being rejected was just fuel for me. For some reason, it just empowered me to keep going because I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to prove anybody that doubted me, anybody that said I couldn't do something, I wanted to prove them wrong. So I had that ultimate edge on my, on my shoulders, and I wanted to just keep fighting through. So every single time I got denied, it just made me work harder, and I took that and ran with it, and it started to show the fruits of my labor later in life. But had I just gave up when I was first experiencing that, I wouldn't be able to be the individual that I am today, and to continue to inspire other people to keep pushing, regardless of, what somebody has to say or rejecting you. All you need is that one yes. And I knew that I was chasing just that one yes.
Nah, fast, bro. Hey, bro, you say your birthday just passed, right?
Yeah, on the 29th of October.
Okay, bet. Yeah, so you a Scorpio too, man. I was sitting here, like, as I'm listening, I'm like, bro, that sounds like me in a way, with like the resilience, and how, like, I just don't really, I do value the constructive criticism, but I still know, like, okay, I'm gonna follow my vision, like, just not to give up and just be determined. But I notice a lot of other people that align, like, people say like it ain't 100% true, but some of that stuff be like, man, it be spot on, man. Cause I know a group of people, like, I'm finding out people, I'm like, man, y'all like y'all is, the same sign too. And it's like, looking at their overall well-being, is like they display the same type of habits, or got the mentality like that.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a true thing for me. I when it comes to Scorpio, man, just very determined, dedicated, man. I'm very goal-oriented and focused. I love the criticism, but as I've gotten older, it's about how the perspective is, the point of view of the criticism.
Right.
Before it was just like, I don't really like that they're saying this about me. For me now, it's like, just keep saying it. I love it, because if you have something to say about me, I look at it as a privilege now. It's a privilege to have people say something about you, because if they're not talking about you at all, then you're just irrelevant.
Right.
But if I can stand out to make you say something about me, now we in the money.
As long as you paying attention, just watch the show. Real talk. And shout out to the trolls too, man. We've been having some trolls on YouTube lately, you know.
Yeah, them trolls too. I love everything. When I post my videos on YouTube and Instagram, and people be like, "Yo, you're not really like that, this and that." I bet you missed all the shots beforehand, all this stuff, and I'm just like, "Hey, I appreciate you stopping by."
I know, like, you took time out I appreciate that. Like, I really enjoy that, man. You're a very good person. Like, that's why I just be like, I'm not gonna be bothered because like, I wasn't looking for you, but I mean, I guess because you're on this fake account and I appreciate that. Like, you doing your job.
I'm the same way all the time. I don't get rattled, man. I really don't let people disrupt my energy. Like, social media is a game to me. Like, I want both. I want the positive affirmation. If I just got all nothing but positive, I would think something probably is wrong. Because I'm like, like, I know, like, I wasn't even feeling 100% about that video. So ain't no way all these people just gonna like the video. So yeah, man, I look at it just like, hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you taking the time out, saying whatever it is. You know, if you want to get under my skin, unfortunately, it's not gonna work. But you know, I appreciate you trying.
Yeah, I think, you know, because they might do that full time with trolling, you know, I don't have that much time in the day. I guess they be used to people just responding like biting the bait. And it's like,
biting that bait. I couldn't entertain it. You know, I got better things to do.
Right. Nah, facts, man. So at one point, you become your own advocate, creating content and building your personal brand from ground up. Like, what was it like when, you know, you started to see others begin to take notice of your work, especially, you know, when there were no scouts or media outlets involved?
Yeah, man. It's kind of like a two-part question. When it came to the media stuff, this was all something that I really enjoyed when I was growing up. I like I said, growing up in the mixtape era with And1. I wanted to like feel like them, you know, I started to develop my love for videography because of that stuff. And I was like, I need to record me playing ball and those things. So I just kind of took it upon myself to learn those skills. And at the time it was like I was working with a Windows, I forget what it was called. It was like Movie Player or something like that on Windows, Microsoft. And I was just chopping up videos on it. I would record on like this terrible quality camera and upload the content, and then, you know, figure out how to do the transitions and things of that nature, and text overlay. But then I've gotten better and better over the time. So when I start to really focus in on how to push this as something that was going to give me top exposure, people were starting to recognize that. I mean, like, it was really a great feeling, because I know how hard it was to learn these things, given the limited resources that I had. But to be able for people to see something that I put out there that I didn't think that was my best form of work, and them really like, yo, this was tough, or, you know, I like this. That was a great feeling. Great for sure feeling. And then the second part of the question, you got to repeat that for me. You were saying towards the end.
Oh yeah, hold on, bro. So I was basically saying, like, you know, when you start to see like people, well, you did kind of answer that though.
Yeah.
Like, you was basically being like your own, in a sense, we are our own brand. So it's like I'm doing the work for myself rather than a scout doing it for me or a manager doing it for me. Like you said, when it was players that had those outlets or whatever, but you just decide to create your own. Like, once people
that's that part. That's when I didn't really specify on. So at the time, I didn't really understand what brands were, like a brand or anything like that. I knew, like, I thought of a brand like just Nike or businesses and things, but brands it's so much different than what a product or service is. the brand is how you make somebody feel, right, and how they remember you. And that's, I didn't understand that at first, so I didn't know what I was doing and trying to build a brand. That actually wasn't even my focus. But as I started to grow, I noticed that I was building a skill set that was going to help me develop this brand and a narrative, so I could control my narrative and highlight the things that I want people to see about me and potentially be able to work with me, whether that be in landing a college opportunity or now working with brands for a brand deal, NIL stuff. So early on, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to learn as much skill as I can when it came to this, because I knew that this was going to be the future, video and basketball. So early on, I would make these highlight tapes on YouTube and get laughed at. You know, I was getting laughed at because nobody took a YouTuber serious or a basketball player serious for trying to be a YouTuber. Like, who cares about this random unknown person? And why would I watch his highlights? I'm going to go watch an NBA player, right? So fast forward now, you know, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's took a way 360, man. Like, and it's like, even with like YouTube, when they finally started coming around, like, we would see like the, you know, the regular stuff and one highlights or whatever and stuff. So I'm going on there to watch, take, you know, game from that, and I'm going outside applying it, you know. So it was useful back then, but yeah, it was new to everybody. Like,
yeah, it was brand new, man. It was brand new. Just like you had to be buzzing, you had to have a name. So if you put your own stuff out there being unknown, you wasn't really seeing views like that because people weren't interested in, you know, an unknown person. And that didn't like being a creator or influencer, that didn't exist. That was just like somebody just creating a video and hopefully people were watching. But now, man, it's a whole industry behind this thing.
Yeah, facts, man. Nah, back then I always say, man, we say the underdogs is always the most known unknown.
Yep, absolutely, 1,000%.
So you played professional basketball overseas. Like, how did you adapt to a completely different basketball culture? Like, and what did you learn from, you know, the experience of playing internationally?
Yeah. So I played in Australia. The culture was different because of the way that they just live, right? Everything's on the opposite side. So where we drive on the right side of the road, they drive on the left side of the road. So that was that was a culture shock. Yeah. And seeing cars come at you in a different way, you're like, whoa, you know, you're like, we on the wrong side of the road.
Right.
So that was different. But the game itself is universal, man. Like, playing basketball is just universal, with the exception of some rules. But not too much of a difference. You know, playing basketball is such a universal language that you could play anywhere. You know, you don't have to speak the same verbiage, but basketball is a universal language where you just know what to do, because you don't have to talk too much. So I didn't really experience any kind of culture shock in that. Just as it was more so just the day-to-day life, you know, living day to day. But then I wouldn't even say too much, because if you know about Australia, it's really a mirror of America.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So not too much. I would just say, you know, different types of cuisines, and you definitely have a bigger pool of European culture that comes over there. I would say, like, here in New York, you got a lot of different ethnicities and things, but like in Australia, it's the entire Australia. So I would say in that sense, but basketball is so universal, man. So there was no big difference in that. You know, you just get out there. If you could hoop, you could hoop. I think me being a pro was different because now, you know, there's things on the line that's serious, and you got to prove why you belong here. Excuse me. And so, but I wanted all of that. I was ready for all of that smoke, man. I wanted to feel that drive, that adrenaline, put that uniform on, get out there, and, you know, go and play in front of those fans.
So how was the talent over there? Like, is it a difference, or you feel like they somewhat equal to like America play style of basketball? Like, you feel like they come with it too?
Definitely not on the same level talent-wise as Americans. But that heart for the game is there, right? They're a bunch of underdogs. I mean, because Australia is not known for basketball; they're known for rugby, right? So that underdog mentality of like I gotta prove this. You definitely felt that, and then there was some hoopers there. So there's some hoopers out in Australia for sure.
Yeah.
But far in between in comparison to American players. You know, like you go in any corner in any major city here, and you gonna find somebody that could go to work on that court.
Yeah, for real. Nah, facts, man. Like you say, you go to Rucker Park right now, somebody probably been hooping out there for a decade. They ready for the smoke.
They ready for it. They ready for it. But I think the difference is it's just living culture, you know, mental aspects of things. Like being a pro is more than just your skill set. You know, it's a mindset thing, and you got to be prepared for that. And I think that's why a lot of players are able to play pro early abroad versus here in America.
Yeah. So it also was a time where you got entered into the NBA draft, which is a huge accomplishment. Like, what was that experience like, man, for you, and how did it feel, you know, to be in a group of athletes who all fighting for a spot, like especially coming from where you came from, where, like I say, being an underdog.
Yeah, man. That was such a special time. And good on you for doing your research too, man. That's tough.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man, that 2016 NBA draft I entered after my playing time in Australia. So I wasn't at the draft. I just entered the draft. But going through that process was unreal, man. It's just the fact that you're communicating with these people that are in charge of this entire experience that can change your life, right? And so, you know, corresponding with individuals in charge of that was just amazing, man. I didn't get drafted. I went undrafted. But I worked out with some G League teams, and that was probably pretty the gist of it all. But being able to have my name entered into the draft and still till this day hold my free agent status is you know, it's kind of a flex. You know, it's a little bit of a flex to just get it, like you know, although I have no desire to play in the NBA right now, but it was cool to be able to have that, you know, right after I retired at 27. So really right after I did the Golden State Warriors project.
Yeah.
That was my end all be all to go all out for this goal of mine one more time. And I held that status and still do, but I was ready. Like if they wanted to sign me, you know, we get there. I literally could sign with the team.
Nah, bro, that's a huge, bro. You know how many people just, even if your name is in it, man, everybody want a piece of that feeling, bro.
I know, man.
That's a dream, man.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. And to me, that was probably my favorite accomplishment out of all the things that I've gotten to do with basketball, because it was so sentimental and so special to me. You know, obviously I wanted to shake the commissioner's hand, but just being able to correspond with that sector of basketball, like this is the top. And them getting that letter saying, hey, you have officially been entering the 2016 NBA draft. Congratulations. Man, that's a type of email that you just be like freaked out about. You like, what? This is crazy. And so yeah, it was a very humbling, blessed feeling that I'm very proud of still to this day.
Nah, I felt that, bro. Like, nah, that's how I felt, bro. Like, cause I'm in the music and stuff, and like, it's just like when you're working on something and you stick down, like with what you're doing, is like, okay, when I finally get that, Like, forget what everybody else saying. Like, I get to this point right here, and like this the moment I've been waiting on, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I felt the same when I went to the labels before social media even happened and all that. Just for them to say, hey, they heard my music and they, you know, that was like a big thing for me in a sense.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
man.
I could definitely understand that feeling of just being fired up. You know, a lot of people, when I would talk about, you know, that NBA draft moment, people would be like, you know, like, yeah, you know, that's cool. Well, you know, you should have got drafted or this and this and that. I'm just like, you know, it's different when you sit in my seat because what happens is you think about all the work you put in. Like I said, I never played in high school. I didn't play in college. I played street ball, Fleet. I played street ball, and I found myself playing pro from not having any prior experience. You know, at least the fundamental way, and that's such a pat on the back to then being eligible to enter the NBA draft and get in.
Yeah,
it's like I'm good with that.
Bro, you know how many people is in college and like that's just really just like the stamp on like what I'm doing and my like it was real, you know, because you know how many people in college they playing so hard and they just waiting for that. Hey, look at me from them, you know. It's not like everybody's like look at me from like okay, like even right now with music, I don't even care if I don't make it major or anything, bro. I can at least say, hey, they done listened to it before. I done been there, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And so for me, it's a trophy that I'm proud to have. And when people hear that, you know, they still feel like, man, that's incredible. That's really cool that you still a NBA free agent. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm really a NBA free agent. It's not something that you could just pretend or want to be like, I got the documents to prove it. You know what I mean?
Facts, bro. Paperwork, definitely. Like, you know, and that it's just like your story, the inspiration, like to everybody in the sense, like, man, just don't stop doing and keep your vision. Like, cut the outsiders out and just go in. You know, I mean, it's gonna everything there's I guess worth lasting. It don't come easy. Like it ain't just I pick up the basketball today and tomorrow they're gonna come look for me. Like it take years and take different hurdles and loops, you know. I say the same with people with music. Like, man, I mean, it's kind of tricky on that though, because everything ain't really on talent no more either. But I say like the craft aspect of it, like focus on your craft. Everything else is gonna come, but you gotta be the best at what you're doing and really learn your craft and study your craft. Like, you know, the harder you go on your craft, it brings everything else.
Yeah, man, 1,000%. I would even go a little bit further and like even changing the fact of being the best. I think you got to be the most impactful because the best, you know, you put a cap on it. You know what I'm saying? Like impact comes in so many different forms. It comes in so many different stages, right? So you could be the most impactful at the beginning stage, the middle, the top, and then the beyond stage that we don't know is. So like having that impact is to me is better than being the best because it lasts longer.
Facts. And man, speaking of impact, you know, let's talk about, you know, what you build in life and basketball brand. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, that's been a way for you to empower other athletes and create a supportive community.
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel to know that you're providing resources and opportunities for the next generation of basketball players? And like your impact in the game, and now look what it spawned. Like for you to create a way more impactful situation.
Absolutely, man. This is definitely my greatest achievement. I know I said like the NBA stamp when it came to me being able to have that draft eligibility was great. But see, that was just a part of me playing. That was my greatest achievement of playing. But overall, building life in basketball brand is the greatest thing that I've been able to do. because I'm seeing firsthand every single day the impact that it's having on first just underdogs, but I've opened it, up to all inclusive, so all level players. And so being able to see that firsthand is a tremendous, unbelievable, empowering feeling, because it's a real community. It's super, super supportive. And we giving out game all the time to players, and creators, that are seeking to do some of the similar things that I was chasing. So it's been really, really great, man, to be building the company. That didn't even start off like that. It didn't start off the way it
I
was.
was just gonna ask you, like, with everything that you provide, with the brand, like, how did idea even came to you too? Like, I was just about to dive into that.
Yeah. So the marketplace, however you want to label it or identify it, it was really Life in Basketball brand was just my personal brand. So the logo itself, that is a silhouette of me. And that came from my inspiration of Michael Jordan, right? So his logo is a silhouette of him. And I knew I wanted to not be Jordan, but I wanted to have an impact. And if you notice, I speak a lot about impact.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a lasting impact. When you see that Jordan logo, you just know.
You know.
It's greatness associated with that, right? Mm-hmm. So I just know that I wanted to have the same level of impact with the delivery of resources, tools, exposure that I wanted to put out there. And I knew that I was going after a specific target audience, underdogs for sure. And so when it came to myself, I was like, all right, I'm like the ultimate underdog that I know of firsthand that is going to be able to tell a story, and hopefully it has this impact where people want to dive in deeper. They want to dive in more. And I wanted to continue that more than just some blog or YouTube series. I wanted it to feel like it was in your back pocket. Like if you needed to pull it out.
Need direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is the blueprint, And so I later realized that my love for helping people, that, okay, I'm talking about myself, and I don't mind talking about myself, but I didn't want it to be just a selfish thing.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I was going to build something that was going to be impactful, well, it's got to be bigger than me. So in order for it to be bigger than me, it needs to include others. So that led into the direction of where I'm at now with storytelling, providing a space for athletes and creators to receive exposure, building their personal brands, understanding monetary landscapes, all these different things, where it's helping players at wherever level they are at. And now we're not looking for just a certain player 5-star or a certain creator 100,000 followers. Wherever level you're at, we have the community, the space for you to participate and go further. And so it's been incredible, man.
Facts, man. So basketball is more than just playing the game, it's about living the game. So how does LBB push that message, and how does it reflect with your own philosophy on life in basketball?
I think it's simple, man. If our hashtag is bonded by the game. So it's as simple as that. It pushes the message like, how are you bonded by the game, right? Whatever you do, however you choose to do it, how does that keep you bonded by the game? And so we try to deliver that in all of our messaging across social, whoever we come in contact with. It's the storytelling, and we want to end it with bonded by the game. How, why, when, where. all of that comes back. So something that keeps us tied together. That's how I would say, like, it continues to further.
Nah, definitely, man. So, speaking of 2025, like, how do you plan to further expand the reach of LBB, and both in terms of user engagements and opportunities for players in the basketball world?
Yeah, 2025, as we approach then, I just plan on continuing to, pushing out different pieces of content, collaborating with brands such as the Underdogs, and spaces like yourself and anybody that is looking to grow, that wants to collaborate. That's how you're going to ultimately be able to grow Life in Basketball brand, is the collaborations and storytelling. That's how I plan on doing going into 2025.
Nah, facts, man. And like I say, as you continue to expand, the presence of LBB, what are you most excited about? What would be the collaborations in a sense, but yeah, like, what are you most excited about, like, far as going into the next year, like things you manifest that you already see happening based on the work you're doing right now?
That would be just the programs that we put out. So we got a beautiful membership that we've launched, where players and creators now sport brands. So there's also that element of maybe they're not a player or creator, but they're building a sport brand. Now they too can come on board and have an opportunity to be able to build their impact and community, or whatever it is they want to do. Yeah, that is probably my most exciting thing, is that.
Nah, facts. And I'm thinking, as you reflect on your journey, with Life and Basketball brand, like, what moments stand out the most, as reminders of why you started the venture in the first place? Like, through the whole journey from when you first started to now, like, in between, like, what's some memorable moments, that, like, reassures you, like this is it, like, this fuels the passion even more, like, I'm headed in the right route.
Man, that's one you think on right there. That's one. Let's see. Something that reminds me of why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, it just reassures you, like, sometimes we be so in the moment where we're just getting it done and everything, but then it's moments where it's like, man, like, for me, a guest reassured me, like, that the purpose in what I'm doing and stuff, because, like I said, I'm so into doing it. But then it made more sense, because I'm like, man, it's like the circle of life right here, literally, like, the space open and created, and all the people, like, and I'm just like, when he reassured me with that, and I was just like, you know what, that made sense. Like,
I would say probably when I come across players that speak so passionately about achieving their dreams of playing either pro or being the next YouTube sensation, and then when I see them actually doing the work and not just talking about it, it reminds me of why I've built what I've built. Because it's the ones that are really speaking heavily passionate about a goal, which makes me think of the Be the Why project I did with the Warriors, but putting in that work. So that project, it wouldn't be anything if I didn't stand out there for 31 days, 8 hours every day. So that right there is being able to see that from some athletes and stuff that I come across, just reminds me of, like, this is why you built what you built, because you were that. And so probably it right there.
Nah, fast, because when I seen that and I looked, I was like, yeah, I already know this episode here, man. I was like, that's a lot of dedication. Like, that's the most unorthodox but unique thing in a way to get your message across. Like, even
Yeah.
if you was to introduce yourself to somebody and they see that video, it's like, oh, he bro mean business. Like, he stand on whatever he's getting himself into, because that's something that out the norm what most people won't like do in a sense, you know.
Yeah, man, and I know we didn't really get to dive in on that, but you
Yes.
know, the Joe Anderson, that guy, man, I just randomly came across him. I was having dinner, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What? This dude stood out the Buffalo Bills practice facility for 6 weeks with
Yeah.
a gallon of water and a sign." I was like, "That's the type of dude I am."
Yeah.
And so I just did it. And so he was the first person to do it for the NBA. I mean, the NFL, and I was the first person to do it for the NBA.
Tight stuff, man. Yeah, you setting the record, man. For real.
Yeah.
Nah, facts. That should go in the Guinness, because, like I say, that's not something that you hear. You really
No,
like that.
it's absolutely not. And I wasn't even doing it for a record. I was just really trying to like, yo, Warriors, I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's get to work, And but later, man, that it was such an impactful project, man. I still, a lot of people to this day reach out to me because of that. But it was very, very impactful, man. I talked to some of the most incredible people during that time.
Nah, man, it seems like, just overall, just the impact, and I can see that because of who you stated, Kobe,
Yeah.
impact. Like, so it's just like everything that you started from the beginning to like the end goal or whatever is going to be an impact, behind your name.
That's ultimately what I want, man. My biggest dream in life, I always say this, is to become the man that I've always dreamed of looking up to.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal in life.
Nah, facts. So what advice would you give to young athletes who are just starting to build their personal brands? Like, what's the most, important step they should take first?
The most important step I would say to athletes that's just getting started building their brand is do not be afraid to be you and showcase that. You got to be you and showcase that. That's the first thing I would say. Because I see a lot of athletes, trying to be other people, putting on facades. It's not truly who they are. Be you.
Basketball too?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
definitely. Oh yeah.
So is it like, because man, you'll see the memes of somebody dressed up in the whole Michael Jordan. Like I posted the other day, dude had the whole Michael Jordan uniform on, and somebody had the Kobe uniform, and they was in the middle of the park somewhere just reading that. Like,
going one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, is that per se what you mean? Like, well, this is their place?
No.
They're not like.
I mean, so much as like your character, like in the sense of like what you're posting. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot of young athletes talking about gang activity, talking gang, and like you're not really knowing what you mean. You're just saying it because you think it's cool, and all those types of things. And to who they really are, it's a bookworm. He like to read books, but he got to stay popular. So I would say be who you really are. If you like reading books or you like doing some, what they would say nerdy stuff,
showcase it.
Let's showcase that. Talk about it, because what's going to happen is there's another kid or other kids that do the same thing, and those are going to become your true followers. There's true supporters, and that's how you're going to make that impact, right? Because you're not afraid now to be who you really are.
Yeah, and I feel like that's that hip hop in the basketball world connected, because hip hop has always been like correlated with from back then. It was always an impact. So
yeah, and I don't want that to not exist, because I love it. I think that it brings a beauty to it. I just know that a lot of athletes, they're not truly displaying who they truly are, right? And that's okay. Like the number one thing in building your personal brand, which is personal. It's like that's why it's called a personal brand.
Yeah.
You need to display who you truly are and be proud in that. So that's what I would say for sure. The first thing.
Yeah, you don't want to deteriorate your brand because, like I said, it's a representation of you or what you build. And so in that you don't want that to be associated like later on. Like, say you do make it to the league and all that, you know how they do. They gonna pull up all this, stuff on the internet don't go away. Like,
no, it's permanent.
Yeah, so.
It's definitely permanent. So yeah, that's what I would lead with for sure.
Nah, facts. So being an underdog has been a huge part of your story. How does that label still apply to your journey today, especially in the terms of your business and the impact you're making on it?
Yeah, man, it's something that I don't want to ever not experience anymore. I love being an underdog. It's so empowering. It puts you in a space that you don't have anything to lose but everything to gain. And I think when you're in that position in life, you shouldn't really have any kind of worries. You could go after the top of the top, knowing that I don't have anything but to lose here, but I have everything to gain. And so I think with me, it's just, living every single day, making sure that I stay true to that. I gotta remain true to that. And no matter who I come across, I'm not looking to be the big time. I want my impact and my company to be big time in the sense of reaching more people. But I want it to be focused on what it was built on. It's built on bringing the voiceless voices, increasing sound bites to individuals that were like me, and I always want to remain reachable. So I say that, man.
That's real. Because I feel like when certain people get to a certain status or whatever in life and stuff, they don't remain true to themselves at a certain point where it's like, I can relate. It's like no matter how far, whatever, how much I go up, I got to realize why I started it. And it's people that's down there that need, some type of guidance to get to the next level.
Right.
So it's like if I can throw the game, I get a game, but you got to take that game and apply it, and then it's gonna turn into what it's your journey. It's your own journey. It's not my journey at that point. All I can do is say, hey, what it took me to get here, and it's nothing wrong with like people be feeling like gatekeeping and keeping secrets, but it's like everybody's journey different. Everybody's not gonna have the same walk, so it's like they walk might be different, and they still get success. Some people feel like if they just take what I told them I did and stuff, they gonna get surpass me or they gonna, but it's not the case. All our walks is so different, but it's like we all correlate with each other. Like definitely
1,000%, man. I just want to be, making sure I'm staying true to what it means to be an underdog. I take very much pride in that because it's what's built the success that I had to this day. It's what's built the relationships that I had to this day. And I never want to be, I don't want to be the 1%. I don't want to be the 1%. I want to be down in the mud with my crew, with my community, and we building something on our own that we gonna keep uplifting the others, so that we all can still and forever remain proud of being underdogs.
Facts, man. And last but not least, brother, even speaking of the underdog from the underdog himself, man, we had Dari Arrington in here, man. So it's like, what does the word underdog mean to you, or when you hear the word underdog, from your definition and your perspective, of your journey and walking life?
What does the word underdog mean to me, man? I think honestly, man, it's not enough words in the dictionary to describe what that means, man. I think it's a blessing. It's a gift. It's a privilege, I would say, to be an underdog for sure. And so to me, it will probably mean to be, to be blessed, to be able to show exactly what you're built of, what you're built on, the cloth that you come from and that you're cut from, without the fear of losing anything. That's what it means to me, is to go as far as you could go without the fear of losing anything. And I think that puts you in such a winning position that it's a blessing to be an underdog.
Nah, facts, man. Underdogs on top. You feel me? Like everybody notice the underdog. They just don't want to notice him until he take over the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you take over the room, you're not an underdog no more. So it's one of those things that are you utilizing it to stay true to it, or you're just using it as a stepping stool so you can get away from it, And it just really comes down to the person. But the underdog that takes over the room and still embodies that underdog way of life, now that's somebody that you want to be around.
Nah, factual. Definitely. That's a dangerous combo right there.
That's a dangerous combo right there.
Yeah, man. But like I say, brother,
Uh-oh. I lost the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I can hear you now. I wasn't able to hear you for a second.
Oh, yeah. But I was saying, man, brother, I appreciate the conversation, bro. Like,
absolutely,
to be able to give your flowers and roll the red carpet out, it's long overdue conversation. But like I say, it was a time, bro. Like when they say everything comes together, the universe is bringing it together, man.
Absolutely, man. This was the time it was meant to happen.
Facts.
This time it's meant to happen. And thank you. I appreciate being on the Underdogs platform, man, and speaking about the story. I'm always open for these things, man. I love what y'all doing, man. Y'all pushing this thing. And a lot of people don't know that when we met, y'all was just getting this started, and that's an exciting thing to see the growth that you guys have had since the inception, and you still going, man. So this platform is one of the realest platforms. So again, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, we appreciate that, bro. That's what we trying to do, man. Just change our narrative. Like I said, it started out of frustration, as being an artist and seeing certain culture voters, and we actually voluntarily go and sit down with these people. So I was like, you know what? Like, why not open the avenue? Well, I'm literally like kind of it don't feel real in a way because like I'm sitting down, I'm talking with certain people, like I'm literally first time meeting, don't even know, and they feel so comfortable, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like I'm getting the feedback, like, and I guess I was just over time just getting good at just just rolling it out, and I'm being myself. That's why I love about it too. And it's like, man, like to get that reassurance, like, to have people, to exchange information and be the circle of life, be that, like, be the soil where they can plant their garden, where other people in return can come and get what they need to nourish themselves, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, bro, that's everything, man. Cause it's just, I always been the type of person that like want to help people and stuff like that too. Like I've never been so like, staying office in a way to try to be selfish. So it's like, okay, I feel like I found this the purpose right here, bro. Like,
and I think you're doing a fantastic job with that, man. Just staying true to, like I said at the beginning of this interview, is staying true to yourself. Staying true to what you're about. Not undermining your morals, your values, your boundaries. That's what is just put you in a very special place, man.
Nah, facts, brother. I ain't gonna hold you too much longer, man. Make sure y'all follow the Bucket Collector, Life and Basketball, man. Make sure y'all follow Lab Hoop TV to see the content, man, and just look out for many more coming from them. Like I say, brother, this is a platform where we do follow us with people on their journey. You know, we do our checkups, you know, like you go into the doctors, you know, we just make sure you see where you at in the journey, whatever, and you know, we go from there.
I appreciate it.
But it's an infinite amount of support from us, you know, like it's always sharing support stuff like it's ours, you know. So like I say, bro, we'll definitely be tapped in, you know, on everything going on.
No doubt. I appreciate it, man. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And you guys check us out. Life and Basketball brand, Underdog Buckets Lab Hoops TV. And then me personally, the bucket collector. So I appreciate it. And
Facts. Everybody stay tuned, man. This was season 6, episode 19, the Court Connoisseur, a lifelong love for the game, featuring Chicago's own Atlanta-based pro athlete, creator, and entrepreneur, CEO, and founder of Life and Basketball brand. We had Dari Arrington on. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Appreciate you.
We got
Gold mouth, rabbit on my teeth, I got carrots. Open up a mouth and she got vocals sound like Janet. Marble on the floors, but the kitchen kinda granite. Lean color perk, you would think it's pomegranate. I see flying saucers finna roll another planet. It will fall in place if it's meant to be organic. I got crazy lingo, you would think I'm speaking Spanish. I'm something like a pie, never leave without the cannon. I'm enlightened, I got stoned around my neck. If you pay attention, I teach her how to earn respect. I walk around with a tag like I'm mad at the rail. People do any damn thing for a check. So what if you got signed labels, throw them on the shelf? I don't ask for help, I just go within myself. Hard times I prevail, I bust up out my shell. I let my nuts hang, cause it don't got no curfew. Gold mouth,